staring girls and message comes. The guy with a straw hat, quite disobedient.
Alright, another one of these top-down videos. They seem to be pretty popular. Well, not popular by most standards, but popular by my standards, where I barely do any videos at all on, seriously, just no schedule whatsoever. But anyway, hopefully I'll get a little bit more serious about this going forward. I recently put out a short and filmed a whole video about the Contax G1. I do seriously believe that the Contax G1 is the greatest film camera ever made. For where I am with how my life is shaping up, how things are going with me, I gotta be honest, there's nothing that beats this. Now, why do I have the good old-fashioned M3 out with it? Well, it's because, honestly, this is the greatest rangefinder camera ever made. This camera is going to be with me forever. So is this. For how I have to shoot film, or how I get to shoot film, most of the time, with like a 4-year-old running around, basically trying to chase down a greased up crackhead. The way this camera gets out of your way, it's just so pleasant to use. It's loud. It's got that autofocus lamp that just kind of sucks, and it's in your face. It's bright. It's annoying, but whatever. It even works well for street photography if people are still into that. I figured I'd do another top-down overview. Now, I got this one pretty cheap, paid for it cash in person, and it was in decent shape. I just cleaned up the viewfinder, and the lens, it came out to be pretty affordable compared to the prices that it goes for these days. I'll be honest, I am absolutely in love. So let's do some sounds real quick. Yeah, it's kind of loud when you turn it on, but that's okay. That's the on off. And then right before and right up there with that collar, you've got exposure lock. Of course, you have to turn it to that mode first. And the exposure compensation on this camera is so fast and so easy to use. And it's really, you can do it by muscle memory after a little while. It's great. Now mine is this data back, which you can actually swap out these backs, which is really great. So let's start with the I guess the comparison is really just that, you know, this is a rangefinder, this is a rangefinder style. Well, it's a rangefinder with autofocus. This is a rangefinder that's totally manual focus. This requires a battery, has a light meter. This doesn't have a light meter, doesn't require a battery. Really, it's a rangefinder camera. Why do I say that? It does use a rangefinder focusing mechanism. It does not have a through the lens viewfinder, even though it is autofocus only. And yes, I know it has a manual focus dial. Oops, sorry, there it is. I know it has a manual focus dial, but that manual focus dial is still an autofocus dial. It just has pre-selected ranges. Yeah, you select the range, but it is an auto-focusing system. That said, it is actually a rangefinder. And on top of all that, it is faster. It also gives you aperture priority, which I need these days. I really do. It helps have autofocus if you have kids, family, and really any other type of events or gatherings that you want to shoot without having to rely on a rangefinder. Now, I take this out with my family all the time, but this is a little bit slower, even though I rarely use aperture priority. If you get good enough, you can repair this yourself. If you have the spare part, you can pretty much repair it in the field almost infinitely. This guy, no. Once the circuits die, they die. You'd have to replace the circuit board from a donor body, or you just have to get a new camera. Now, in terms of look, I guess it's a little bit up in the air, right? I don't really know what to think. This is a camera that's really become more a fashion accessory. It's more than the fact that celebrities kind of use it as an accessory. I think this is genuinely an easy camera to use. And the more you, and the better you get, the faster you get with it. For instance, I don't meter every single scene with it. I just use the meter to kind of figure out where I want to put my exposure. And that's something you learn with this camera because it allows you fully manual and automatic exposure with exposure compensation. So exposure compensation is something that kind of starts off teaching you basic ways of thinking about exposure. The film loading, of course, is automatic. That viewfinder is one negative thing about it because I think it's like a prismatic style viewfinder. You have a very tight eye box. You have to be right on in order to see anything. That said, it hasn't caused me to miss any shots. It's excellent. The dials feel like, oh man, I bet they probably felt like that on day one. They're so snappy. The buttons, the on-off switch, that Nikon style on-off collar is so awesome. And man, the Zeiss lenses, especially this 45 f2. I mean, this might be the greatest lens of all time. I love Zeiss lenses. I have Zeiss glass on my Leica, and I don't really feel the need to get Leica lenses. That's just how good they are. In terms of travel, this is a great camera. Street photography, great camera. Some people say it's a little slow, but plan ahead, I guess. But I'm not that like a big street guy anymore anyway. But if you are an older, I guess, person, you've got kids, family, and you really want to shoot film, but you don't want it to be like, hey, I'm that guy that shoots film, everyone wait for me. This is it. I happen to be almost as fast with both of these, but oftentimes I'm holding something for my kid, so I don't have time to work that focus tab. So this camera is pretty much my all-day, everyday film camera these days. That's not to say I don't shoot the M3. The M3 gets shot plenty. The M3 is that camera that you have forever because it would survive the end of the world. This camera, I don't know, as long as you've got batteries, as long as the circuit board's functioning, yeah, you'll be okay. I don't really know what else to say about it except that it's damn near perfect. Maybe if it was a little bit faster to use, it would be even better. And I know that people say the G2 is faster and the G2 is better, but I think the G1 looks better than the G2. And I just feel like the G1, from what I've heard and researched, is more reliable. I think they seem to have less electronics problems. Now, I don't think this is really a competition. It's really more of a comparison. What do you like? How do you like to shoot? What kind of film shooting scenarios do you find yourself in? You know, what is your setup? How much can you shoot film? I've basically got so much film that I can shoot every day if I want to. And that's sort of how I approach it. I've usually got both of these cameras loaded up with film, and I just choose if I want to take this one out today or that one out today. If I'm running errands, it's this guy. If I'm more focused on going out and doing photography along with whatever else, or if I'm going on a trip where I'm going to have some free time to be on my own, it's going to be the M3. They've both got excellent lenses. They're both freaking beautiful, and they both just work. So what else can I say, you know? Not really a comparison. Maybe just a use case. Yeah. Aside from that viewfinder being annoying to use, yeah, I'll just say this is amazing. Also, that issue that people talk about, that it misses focus a lot, no, absolutely not. If you can guesstimate generally how many meters away your focus point or your subject is, and you're placing that autofocus crosshair properly where you want it to go on your subject, it's really fast. It does not get in your way. It doesn't force you to slow down. And I think I've maybe misfocused on a handful of photographs after shooting, 30 rolls. It's just so good. It is a hard camera to beat if you want ease of use, autofocus, but with the ability to do manual exposure. It is just superlative. I love this thing. Look at it. No wonder Fuji based the Fujifilm X Pro on this camera. And people love that camera. Yeah. God, just look at it. How often do you see titanium, coppery, it's not quite gold, but I guess champagne? How often do you see that and go, wow,